Wow, this is finally a real thing. So crazy. My name is Sebastian Henson. I run Fidelity Theatricals. And yeah, this is Broadway Unfiltered. Welcome back. Well, not welcome back. Sorry, I watch a lot of Emergency Intercom. I watch 2 podcasts, and that's one of them. I kind of wanted to start this podcast a while ago. I had a logo mocked up and everything. And then around the time so much was happening that it was just not in the cards for me to start this podcast. And yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you're going to expect from this podcast. This episode's kind of just going to be like an intro to Broadway Unfiltered. And also just kind of an intro to myself and, you know, how I started Fidelity and stuff like that. Because I know that a lot of people don't really know how I started Fidelity. I have hiccups. I just had lunch. And so I kind of want to give you the story of what happened. This is my first time recording this podcast with this setup. So I'm going to be sitting here and... Is this the recording? Okay. This is... Hopefully it is. So what you can expect out of this podcast, this is a Broadway Unfiltered. You know, I'm going to be talking about Broadway, maybe, you know, other things as well. What's going on in Broadway, what's going on with Fidelity. And then also, you know, other things. I love Broadway. I love talking about Broadway, but I don't like limiting myself. I have other interests. You know, I collect a lot of VHS tapes. I love vintage Playboy. I think that's really cool. GameCube. Love My Chemical Romance. It's my favorite band. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love Marvel and DC. When I say DC, I mean I like Batman. So what you're going to get out of these episodes is you're going to have 2 episodes a month. The first episode will be on the first Monday of that month, I believe. And that first Monday will be a solo episode every time, a 30-minute solo episode with me. Oh, you know what would have been a good idea if I checked at what time I started this. Okay, then let's just, I'll wing it. You'll get those every Monday with me, again, Sebastian. And then on the last Monday of every month, you will get an episode with a guest. Wow, so cool. It'll vary from, you know, friends of mine to people who do Fidelity shows who also happen to be some of my friends. Maybe people who work at Don't Tell Mama, which is where we do shows. And occasionally Broadway actor or 2, possibly. That's in the works. So I get the question all the time about how I started this company and what drove me to do it. I always omit one thing because I don't think it necessarily counts, but I'm gonna include it when I talk about this. During COVID, I did a online cabaret. When I talk a lot, I yawn. I did a Alan Menken celebration. And that was a lot of fun. It was an online cabaret. COVID, nobody was doing anything, so we had time to do this. I edited the entire thing. I was the MC of it. It was so much fun. Getting to edit that was a big editing feat for me. The editing is not great because it was the first time I ever edited anything. But I was happy with how it turned out. And ever since then, I was like, that was fun. And then I went back to college, and I didn't really think about doing anything again until I graduated college. And then I worked at the Harry Potter store in 2021 to 2023. And a lot of those people who worked there at the time were musical theater people, and also some people who I went to college with who had a lot of common interests with me. Am I too close to the microphone? They had a lot of common interests with me. And at the time, I'm still a very big Phoebe Bridgers fan. I love Phoebe Bridgers. And at the time, I was like, God, I want to do... At the time, you know, I feel like for a lot of people during COVID, theater, their love for theater kind of started to dwindle. And I think when you're not constantly surrounded by theater, it's hard to love theater. So my love for theater was starting to dwindle, but my love for performing wasn't. And I decided to do a Phoebe Bridgers cabaret in 2021 at Don't Tell Mama. It was the first time we did something like that, and it was a lot of fun. The people who did it was a great group. That was before Fidelity was even like an idea in my mind. It was just like something that we did. See, I'm yawning already. I was told that yawning is a good sign of vocal health because it means that your voice is so relaxed. But I hate that is the case. And so I did this show at Dental Mama, and I loved it. It was fun. You know, not a lot of people came, but it was fun to do, and it kind of helped me learn the ways it works. And then in 2022, my initial idea was I was really, really bored. I really, really wanted to do more performing, and I haven't done any performing. The last musical I did was in 2019, and I played Barthé in Spelling Bee, and ever since then, I just haven't done anything. Auditioning is awful. It's so much work. It's tiring, especially when you're not equity. Having to go to these auditions. So going to in-person auditions was a pain in the ass. So I just stopped going. I still haven't gone in a while. I will go back once the 2026 season starts. That's going to be it's going to run a little different than it did this year. But once that starts, I'm going to go audition. But I auditioned. We got to stop me fucking yawning, man. Also these headphones, what the heck? Oh my God. Did I cut that out? Can you hear me? Let's not do that again. I think it cut me out. I gotta stop yawning. But yeah, so I just haven't performed in a while, and auditioning sucks. It sucks sitting there waiting. I'm not gonna name the theater, but I went to an audition for a theater season, and they are a non-equity theater. And they told us that they weren't going to see non-equity in the audition. I was like, I've been here for 5 hours, and you're going to tell me that now? I have been seen for some things, and some things that I really wanted didn't come to fruition. And I really would like to get back into, my voice is correct, like actual performing. Not that Fidelity isn't actual, doing actual full productions of fully staged shows. Fidelity does fill that hole for me, for sure, in some instances, but doing a full show would be awesome. So at some point I realized how many people I was surrounded by who do theater, and I was like, shit, I need to start performing. And this was around the time where there was a big resurgence, or I guess surgence, I don't know, where a lot of people started producing their own cabarets. And at the time, 54 Below was not this place where you can actually just book whatever you want there. For the longest time, back when 54 Below used to be like Mecca of Broadway, where like you can't do a show there unless you're Aaron Tveit. And so I was like, how do I do shows? And I remembered, Dental Mama was decently cheap, and you know they pretty much let you do whatever you want there. They're very welcoming to any kind of show. They don't cancel a show ever. And the only person who can cancel a show is the producer. And I contacted Dental Mama again, and Tanya Moberly, the booking manager of Dental Mama, she has been great. Tanya remembered me, and I was like, awesome, let's get this thing started. So I initially jumped very big. Instead of doing like case by case, I jumped the gun, and I did a year's contract of one show a month. And it started out very well, but the problem that I ran into was that I had the same group coming back for every single show. It was a very good group, the people that we had. A lot of the OGs who don't work with us anymore, but a lot of the OGs who I had, they were in every single show, and it's really hard to bring people back all the time, every single month. And so at some point, it wasn't panning out as well as it was. And then I had met somebody who I met while I was at the Harry Potter store. We just happened to meet each other, and he happened to be in a show that I really liked. And so he joined us for one of our cabarets, which was a lot of fun. And he prompted, let me get water. Let me see if water is the reason why I'm yawning so much. I have water right in front of me. I can't stop yawning. But we had a guy come. I'll say his name. You know, we're not really close anymore, but he was a big... You hear that? He was a big stepping stone for us. His name is Max Bardos. He was in the original cast of Sing Street. And Max was great. I'm just trying to make this a little louder. I don't know why I can't hear myself that great. But Max was great. Max was... somebody who really believed in what I was trying to do at the time. And we ended up doing our first selection show with him. We were doing our Heartbreak cabaret in February of 2023. And he prompted the idea of doing a selection show. And that didn't even cross my mind that that'd be a possibility. And so he prompted doing Spring Awakening. And I was like, oh, that would be really fun. My ideal role in Spring Awakening for a while was Moritz. And then it was also Max's as well. And, Max was helping me out with all of this stuff. We didn't do that Don't Mama. We did it as the Laurie Beachman. But helping me book this place and everything, I was like, I got to let Max be Moritz. Being Melchior is totally fine with me. I do not mind being Melchior. And now that I've done it already a couple times, I don't think I want to be Moritz at this point. I think that Melchior is definitely like the role that I want to keep doing. So with my phone just got a notification. Let me mute this. So with that, Max was like, let's do this. We did Spring Awakening, and the idea of doing selection shows was like, wow, I don't think I ever want to do a cabaret again. This selection show was so much fun, considering this is like the first role I played. I mean, granted, before that, we did do the Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark cabaret. That was a little different. I guess it was technically still a selection show, but it was more centered as a parody. But doing the Spring Awakening show was so much fun. To rehearse and learn music instead of learning just a solo was so much fun. And at that point, I ended up getting the bug for doing selection shows, which was then, so we did that in June of 2023. And then I decided that we'll do another selection show and see how that goes. We'll do it at Don't Tell Mama. We did selections from Tick Tick Boom. I played John. I wasn't originally attached to play John. Actually, it was Max, who was originally supposed to be John. And then he got busy. And then Emma Bussey, who was on American Idol, Emma Bussey ended up playing Susan. Phenomenal performance. And then Shafiq Hicks, who is currently on the national tour of Book of Mormon, playing the General. He was Michael. And that show went great. The only problem was, if you live in New York, that night of the show was the night in 2023 where we had that insane thunderstorm where all of the subways flooded. Like recently the subways have flooded, but that flood was the worst we've ever had. So the show went great, and at that point I was like, yeah, this is what we're doing forever. Like this is what we're doing forever. So I already had finished I picked out that we're doing cabarets for the rest of the year. So I was like, we're just gonna stay on those, and I'm not gonna cancel those and not do the selection shows because people wanted to do the cabarets. And I didn't want to jump the gun and not plan the other shows first. So then in 2024 is when we started doing our selection shows, and that year we started with Dear Evan Hansen. And that was a lot of fun. I realized the monster I was signing myself up for. In 2024, I directed every single show except for two of them, technically three. We didn't do a show in December, but my friends Sasha and Harper, their sisters, they did their own little solo show that I produced in November. And we did Waitress. We did selections from Waitress. I didn't direct that one. Juliana Padilla did. And then we did Spring Awakening again, and Maddie Brown directed that one. I was still Melchior in that one. And then when we came to the end of the year, I was going through a lot, and I was like, listen, I was working at the Color Factory, and I told myself, listen, if I don't end up keeping this job, then I don't know what I'm going to do. So then I stopped working at the Color Factory, and then I ended up working at the Museum of Ice Cream, and I knew that was a seasonal job, and I was like, listen, this is seasonal. I'm going to let it play its course. If I get kept, then I get kept, and we'll stay doing, what we were going to do in 2025 is we were going to do one show every other month. Let me lower the gain. We're going to do one show every other month. And I was like, okay, I guess that's fine. I bet this audio sounds like shit. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to make it sound nice. So I told myself, yeah, we'll do one every other month, and I'll keep my job. But I told myself, if I don't keep my job, then I will go ham with Fidelity. And lo and behold, I did not get kept on for the seasonal group. Nobody got kept on for that seasonal group for the Museum of Ice Cream. So I told myself, all right, fuck it. I guess I'm just going to do this full time now. So it was a very big risk. I will admit that I have lost more money this year than I have made. And we started out the year with selections from Seussical, and I would like to do that again somewhere down the line. It didn't pan out as well as we thought it would. The show went great. The performers were all great. It was just very stressful. You know, Seussical is always dogged on this show. That's like stupid, but Seussical is genuinely, it's a very hard show to do. And that didn't pan out like we thought it would. And it was a little too, I got let go. I didn't get kept on from the Museum of Ice Cream. I would say like, oh gosh, I don't remember, mid December, beginning of January. So I couldn't add on 3 shows a month for January. It was just way too close to call to announce shows or even pick shows and cast them. So I just said, we'll do the 3 months out like we were going to do anyway. And then we will go straight in starting in April. So we did selections from Seussical, and then, excuse my burp, and then during Seussical, Emma Noelani, who played Maisie LeBird in that, prompted wanting to do Rent. And I kept thinking, like, Rent's not going to fit into the season. Maybe we'll do it next year or at the end of the year. It's a really hard show to cut down to an hour. And at the time, I was like, wow, I need money. I think originally my idea was I was just going to I do a solo show every year, not every year, but I'm gonna start doing it every year. And so I had my solo show in February, and I was like, I'm gonna not make any money on this. I wasn't doing the solo show to make money. I was doing it to make some art with my friends. And Emma was like, let's just do Rent now. And I was like, okay. So we did Rent in February, and that was great. A lot of people came out to that. Met a lot of really cool people in that cast. People who have been returning people. Arthur Sanchez, who has been in a bunch of shows with us. Leo Ebanks, who's also in a bunch of shows with us. And the show went great. We had a great audience. A lot of really cool people ended up showing to the show. I was very happy with it. And then, you know, my solo show came. That was fine. It doesn't have to be good. It's just for fun for me. And then we came around to Crybaby, which we did in March. We don't talk about Crybaby. This is Broadway Unfiltered. I'm going to be so honest on here. Crybaby just did not pan out the way it could have. No one showed up to the show. It was a very hard show to market. It's not that popular. No one came. And I just kind of lived with that truth. I was like, you know what? I can't keep doing shows that are not popular. So we had a completely different schedule this year with the directors that we had. We had Grace, Reese, and Kendall. And I met with them, and I let them pick shows. And I let them pick shows, and then they gave me I gave everybody 2 shows. They gave me about 10 options, and I said, okay, you could do this one, but you can't do that one, and maybe this one, but Reese wants to do this one? Okay, so Reese could do. That's how we kind of figured it out. And when it came to Reese had picked 2 very good shows, but shows that I didn't believe would sell well just because of the popularity. Not 2 shows. It was just Alice by Heart, which was last night. This is when I'm recording the episode. Alice by Heart was always set to happen. I didn't have the biggest confidence that the show would sell well. It did sell pretty good because it's not as popular as something like Spring Awakening. But Amelie was supposed to be in place of Be More Chill, which is what we're doing in September. And Be More Chill, I was like, I don't know if this show, Amelie, I don't know if Amelie's going to sell. I think we're going to have to switch. So I told her, like, hey, I don't know how Amelie's going to sell. I think we should switch it out. And she landed on Be More Chill. And I was like, oh, Be More Chill, I think would definitely sell. So that's what Be More Chill came down to. We're still figuring out what we're going to do in 2026. I don't want to share too much. I will say that we're going to be doing more. I don't want to say exactly what, but we're doing more. I actually in 2 weeks I am meeting with all of the directors for next year. We have a lot of directors. Let me go to the handy dandy notes and count how many directors we have. I was gonna say how many directors are directing shows, but wait, where's my director list? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 directors, 9 including me, which is almost triple what we had this year. Well, I guess it's double because I count. We have some first-time directors coming, which is going to be awesome. First-time directors and some people returning to direct some shows that they have directed before. That they did. The shows did really well, so I was like, we could absolutely bring these shows back. I'm directing a lot of cool stuff next year. I'm not directing as much as I usually do. I'm gonna let go and let other people direct a bunch of stuff. I don't want to have people direct a billion things at once, including myself. I want to open myself up to other opportunities. I'm directing my first full production next year. I might be directing 2 shows. I don't want to talk about them yet because I don't want to jinx them. But one is sooner rather than later, and one is later rather than sooner. But they're both happening in 2026. If they both happen, I'm pretty sure. I know that one of them is definitely happening. The other one, we're still working out the kinks with that one. Fidelity is a lot of fun. Making this my full-time job was a really big risk. It's still a risk that I'm taking. We're still not at an exact point where we need to be, but I don't think that we could ever get to that point if I don't make this my full-time job, which I have. And I think that I need to sit here and give it my full attention to be able to make it a full thing that I need to do. Fidelity isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I like what I'm doing. I like doing these selection shows. I'm hoping that we can do selection shows and also possibly start doing full productions. I have a list of full productions that I really want to do that I want to attach to Fidelity. Doing full productions is a monster that's really hard to tackle, especially doing shows in New York. The prices are ridiculous. I'm not going to say what musical I'm gearing up to do. Oh, actually, I can say what musical I'm gearing up to do because I've talked about it before. Jesus Christ Superstar, that's like my dream show to direct. That would cost like $50,000 to do comfortably in the city. When it comes to the rights, when it comes to the venue I want to be able to pay people. Also, costumes, sets, stuff like that. Hold on, we have to take a break. I have to go to the bathroom. Hi. I was in the bathroom just now. I had to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I feel like I've pretty much told you how Fidelity started out. I'll tell you what we got going on sometime soon. And, Broadway Unfiltered is where you're going to get your deep cuts. I'm about to tell you what we're doing for the rest of the year. Isn't that crazy? All right, so right now is the day after. Oh, actually, this won't go up until after Legally Blonde. So next week is Legally Blonde, but this is not going up until after Legally Blonde. We got Be More Chill. A selection from Be More Chill. That's going to be awesome. After a selection from Be More Chill, we have selections from Little Mermaid. And then we have selections from American Idiot. After selections from American Idiot, we have selections from Sweeney Todd, selections from Carrie, selections from Young Frankenstein. I'm directing all of those. I don't know why I did that to myself. And then after that, we have, you ready? We have selections from Bright Star. God, I have hiccups bad now. Selections from Bright Star. After selections from Bright Star, we have selections from Grease. Then we have selections from High Fidelity. High Fidelity is what I named the company after. Right here. Favorite movie of all time, and I love the musical, so I thought, I think we should do this now. I also think that maybe it should be a yearly thing, but we'll see how it performs this time. Selections from High Fidelity, and then after High Fidelity, we have 2 shows in December, just 2. We have selections from Anastasia, and we have selections from Company. We're closing out the year with Company. I am not directing Anastasia. Kendall Grady is. That's going to be a lot of fun. Ed Reese is directing Be More Chill. We pretty much have 2026 already picked out. I have all my shows picked out. It's going to be a lot of fun. yeah, make sure you guys come out to a show. Make sure to do whatever you need to do for these podcasts. I don't know how podcasts work. So make sure you subscribe to the freaking podcast. Is that how that works? Subscribe, add it to your list on Spotify. I don't know how this works. Super excited for more episodes. I don't have an outro yet. We just have an intro. So no outro. So this is the outro. Bye.